First reading. A reading from the second book of Kings, chapter 4, verses 42 to 44. A man came from Baalshalisha, bringing the man of God bread from the first fruits, 20 barley loaves, and fresh grain, still in the husk. Give it to the company to eat. Elijah said, but his servant replied, how can I serve this to 100 men? Give it to the company to eat. He insisted, for Yahweh says this, this will eat and have some left over. He served them, they ate and had some left over, as Yahweh had said. This is the word of Lord. Thanks be to God. Second reading. A reading from the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 4, verses 1 to 6. I, the prisoner in the Lord, urge you, therefore, to lead a life worthy of the vocation to which you were called, with all humility and gentleness, and with patience support each other in love. Take every care to preserve the unity of the Spirit by the peace that binds you together. There is one body, one Spirit, just as one hope is the goal of your calling by God. There is one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and one God and Father of all, over all, through all, and within all. This is the word of Lord. Thanks be to God. A reading from the Gospel according to John, chapter 6, verses 1 to 15. After this, Jesus crossed the Sea of Galilee, or of Tiberias, and a large crowd followed him, impressed by the signs he had done in curing the sick. Jesus climbed the hillside and sat down there with his disciples. The time of the Jewish Passover was near. Looking up, Jesus saw the crowds approaching and said to Philip, where can we buy some bread for these people to eat? He said this only to put Philip to the test. He himself knew exactly what he was going to do. Philip answered, 200 denarii would not buy enough to give them a piece each. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said, here is a small boy with fish, barley loaves, and 2 fish. But what is that among so many? Jesus said to them, make the people sit down. There was plenty of grass there, and as many as 5,000 men sat down. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed them to those who were sitting there. He then did the same with the fish, distributing as much as they wanted. When they had eaten enough, he said to the disciples, pick up the pieces left over, so that nothing is wasted. So they picked them up and filled 12 large baskets with scraps left over from the meal of 5 barley loaves. Seeing the sign that he had done, the people said, this is indeed the prophet who is to come into the world. Jesus, as he realized they were about to come and take him by force and make him king, fled back to the hills alone.